Hi everyone, I'm Rosemary Miller here with speaker, author, and entrepreneur, Luvvie Ajayi Jones. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So you are a best-selling author. A lot of people strive to do that and never make it. Can you tell us about your journey?
So I am a 20-year blogging veteran. I call myself a 20-year overnight success. I started blogging in college. Basically, the writing took off. People started reading this little blog while I had a full-time job. And when I got laid off my full-time job, I basically could not find another one. It was like the universe was like, hey, this is what you're supposed to be doing. So my first book came out in September 13th, 2016, so exactly 7 years ago. It's called I'm Judging You, the Do Better Manual. I have this audience that has followed me for a long time who are very invested in my success, and I was like, I need your help to make this book soar. And they said, say less. And they showed up, they bought multiple copies, and I ended up hitting the New York Times Bestselling list in my category. And since then, I've written 3 other New York Times Bestselling books, and it's really from doubling down on what I think is my purpose, using my power, and saying the things that people were thinking but they dared not to say.
Yeah. So I want to lean into that you were laid off and you couldn't find a job. I know that's a major thing. And what was going through your head in that moment? What did you feel? How did you overcome that?
So when I got laid off my job, I was not expecting that I was going to work for myself or writing was going to take off. For me, it was a shock because I was like, where are my checks coming from? Where are my good benefits going to come from? And I just remember being like, okay, while I look for other jobs, I still have to make money. I still have bills to pay. So I started consulting for other people.
Okay.
And I started teaching other bloggers how to use social media to tell their stories. So I basically found the hustle in me and made it work. But it probably took me like a year and a half after then to be like, listen, maybe you're actually supposed to work for yourself. Maybe this is actually pointing you towards your actual career, which is to use your words to make impact.
A year and a half. Wow. So I'm wondering, you seem so authentic. How do you navigate being your authentic self in any environment?
I don't think it's an option for me. You know, I realized very early on that it is hard for me to fit in. I look different from everybody, you know, and then at one point I had long locks, short hair, that was my signature. When I walk in a room, I'm easy to notice. So I realized that, you know, we can use that to our benefit. I can use that to my benefit. I can use that in a room of 1,000 people. How can I walk away having a conversation that somebody would not forget? How can I walk away leaving some type of impression on somebody that will make them want to move and act and do something different? And I think authenticity really is about embodying who we are even when nobody's watching. And I just think we need more of it. And for me, realizing early on that when I am my most authentic, I stand out and I can use that to do something good, it felt less scary and more of an opportunity. So it's an opportunity that I embrace.
So how do you do that on social media, being authentic? Because we're in an era of trends. You got to do what's trending. So how do you do that?
I do not follow trends. I do not chase the algorithm, and I will not change who I am based on whatever the new thing is, right? And I think because that's a fickle thing to go on. It's a fickle mission to have because humans change their minds every day. So to constantly change who you are based on what the newest trends, it's exhausting, and you won't ever really make the real impact you want to make with the people you want to make with because you are a different person every day. So on social media, I am who I am in person on social media also. What people say a lot of times is that they hear my voice even when they're reading my writing. And that's because I write like I speak. You know, the energy that I show up in a room with is the same energy I show up on social media with. You know, whether people have read my books or listened to my podcast or met me in real life, it's the same person that they're going to meet on whatever platform. And that's also helped spur me forward.
So let's take it back to when you were a little girl.
Yeah.
What inspired you to become a writer? Did your parents read to you every night? Were you an avid reader, writer, journaling?
I've always been an avid reader. Always have loved books. Writing was not the goal or anything beyond a hobby until college when I started my blog. So I wasn't pushed towards writing by anybody. And I actually think that speaks to the fact that like some of our gifts might not make sense to the people around us. And there might not be something that anybody else around us can help us with. So like, there's no writers in my family. Well, my cousin who's younger than me is a writer. So I basically was the first one in the family. And yeah, being little, I just loved words. I would spend time with books. I would read very quickly, and I just loved to take in new worlds. And so to become an adult who uses her words, it tracks.
So what are 3 pieces of advice you have for someone who wants to be successful in turning their passion into a career?
1, honor your gift. You know, I think a lot of times we will deny our gift because we don't know how we're gonna make it into something monetizable. I think we have to honor it. You might not know how yet, but hone that. You know, if you're a writer and you're like, I don't know how writers make money, just keep writing. If you're a photographer and you're like, I don't know how I'm gonna make my big break, just keep taking photos. So I think honoring it just looks like taking the time and doing that thing, because the practice makes us better, which is a self-fulfilling prophecy. You get better, more opportunities, your work will stand out more. Another one is to under-promise and over-deliver. You know, tell people that you will do something, then blow them away. You know, give expectations at like a 5 and then show up and give an 8. Because then they'll walk away surprised and delighted. As opposed to what a lot of people do, which is overpromise and under-deliver, which means you will disappoint people. So instead of disappointing, blow their minds. And then third, just really listen to yourself. I think a lot of the journeys that we want to go on, a lot of other people have not gone on it, so we'll seek advice. Sometimes you just need to listen to yourself and trust yourself.
What's next for you, Luvvie?
What is next for me? I've hit the New York Times Bestselling list 4 times. It's a major feat that I'm really proud of.
As you should be.
One of the things that I am most proud of about it is because I've done that, I'm able to give credence to other people who want to do it, who look like me. So now I have launched a book academy. It's called The Book Academy, to teach other people how to write, market, and launch impactful books that can change their lives like mine did. So that is what I'm very excited about. And I'm in the middle of my first cohort right now of 270 students. And at the end of this, I'm pretty sure we're gonna have a lot of books coming out that are gonna be great. So that's what I'm excited about, helping other people feel seen and heard through the Book Academy.
Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.